But we're here to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake. Um, just a spoiler warning. I'm anticipating that you're going to be getting into spoilers.
I will.
I don't want you holding back spoilers on my accord, so I would say let's just break it down, dive in, and let's get into the nitty gritty. If you have not played Final Fantasy VII Remake up to this point, dear listener, and you do not want to have any spoilers for the game, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, pretty much. I hate to make it so abrupt, but that is exactly what Drew said is nothing but the truth. So
yeah, we're going to end the show.
You have
with
been
this.
warned.
we're ending the show with this. We're going to talk about this for a while. So
yeah. All right. So what I said to you kind of before the show, I'm not doing what we normally do, which is kind of a consensus on every single aspect of the game. What I'm going to do is go through the good, the bad, and a few other topics. So what I'll do first is I'll go through the good, and then feel free to ask me some questions, and I think it would be better for me to kind of expand on some things.
Well,
that way I'm not just rambling.
Yeah, well, before you dive into the good, can we just kind of talk about your experience with the original game? Just to kind of just to kind of set the scene, and then what it was like popping in the new version for the first time, and what that felt like.
Sure. No, I think that's a great place to start. So I did not play Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 1 when everybody else did. I watched people play, my buddy Miles, who listens to the show, and a few other people. And I think at the time I just wasn't really into RPGs, so I never got it. Long story short, I ended up getting it many, many moons later, and I played the original copy. I think it was a greatest hits on a PlayStation 3. So that is how I started, on a PlayStation 3 with the original disc. And I fell in love with it pretty quickly. From the moment that the game starts to how the story starts, unfolding, and you're reading the dialogue, because there was really I don't think there was any dialogue, sounds, or voices at all in the original.
There weren't.
And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Now, I have a weird history with it, though. So I started it and stopped it so many times, and it was basically just due to weird issues with internal memories getting deleted. The PlayStation 3 has an internal PS1 memory card, and I had issues with it, I think, on my fat PS3, because I think I got the yellow light of death, if I remember correctly, on my fat PS3, so that sucked. So I lost the file, and I had to start it again. And I want to say I started the game a total of at least 3 times and kept getting up to a very similar point, and then just never completing it. And that point that I got up to, I think, was always somewhere on disc 2, where you discover some other characters, some optional characters, and whatnot.
Okay.
And yeah, I think ultimately it just ended up becoming a very long game, and I think that's really just why I never finished it, because I was having all these issues getting up to a point and having something happen. I just never really went back to start it again. So when the sort of remaster came out on PS4, I believe it was, where they just kind of touched up the visuals and made it a little less blurry, I guess.
Yeah.
It kind of sharpened up some of the polygons. I almost got that version, because for the longest time now, I think it's been about $15.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
I never got it because I think at the time that I was thinking about it, FF7 Remake was announced, and I thought, all right, well, this is going to take some time to come out, so maybe I'll just wait. And I kind of went back and forth and mulled it over, and then eventually, before you know it, FF7 Remake was released. And if I remember correctly, I also did not buy this day one, but I think it was week 1 that I got it. And I'm sure glad I did, because it has been a pretty tremendous experience for the most part.
Okay. So week 1, you're talking a $60 purchase. You've put in roughly 40 hours to it. Do you think you got your money's worth?
I would say so. Yeah, without a doubt. So, and, even though I have some complaints that I'm going to get into in a little bit, overall, the experience was definitely worth $60. And I think they did a great job making this game. That is an extremely short consensus of it before we kind of dive in.